Hi, welcome to the Neon Bros. I am Russ, one half of the dynamic duo that is the Neon Bros. Today's topic is the 5 best ways to convert homeowners into investors. So if this sounds like an interesting topic to you, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Let me just dive right into it. So the first thing that you want to do when you're talking to a potential client, either through the system that we have here at the Neon Bros, or if you're just doing it yourself, is to, when you're talking about investing to a homeowner, is to manage their expectations properly. In my prior life as a financial planner, I used to have to do that constantly, because what I would do is I was selling them stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, and as you know, those things go up and down daily, even minute by minute. So the last thing that we wanted to do is to get somebody involved in investing who would just get nervous if the things went down and if they see their portfolio losing money. So we would try to spend a lot of time setting their expectations, letting them know that things generally go up, but there are plenty of days where it's down. It's probably 2/3 to 1/3 up to down days. So if you see down days or down periods, even significant pullbacks, which happen roughly every 2 years, don't get too nervous. It's going to, in all likelihood, come back. So if you do the same thing that we would do as financial planners in your capacity as a real estate as a real estate agent, you'll have a lot more success, so that you're not spending time with somebody who ends up getting skittish right at the time that you need them to close. So what I would do is I would set expectations about the things that are very predictable. You know that there's going to be repairs done on most properties. That's almost a given. You know that they're going to need a certificate of occupancy. So there's a possibility that that might get delayed. There's a possibility that the repairs might get delayed. And you also, there may be some time between the time that they purchase the property and the time where it's occupied. So it may take a few months before they actually start receiving the rent checks that they're counting on. So tell them that right from the outset. Make sure that they know that that's part of the game. Just give them a few months. Tell them it's going to be a couple of months before it's profitable, 2, 3, 4 months. So that way, if it is only 1 or 2 months, then they're actually pleasantly surprised. So if it should happen that any of these eventualities do come to fruition, just remind them that you did talk about that, and this is exactly what we were expecting, completely predictable. And it'll give you a sense of calm and give them a sense of calm, because they will be kind of feeding off of you. The other thing is, so number 2, so the first thing is managing expectations. I think that's really important. The second thing is to anticipate problems. So remember, these are people who didn't come to you. These are not like the normal homeowners or home buyers that you come in contact with. People who know that they need to buy a home and they come to you because they want to make that purchase. These are people that were minding their own business, and you came along and suddenly, came up with the idea of investing for them. So if things don't go exactly as planned, they may blame you. So you want to make sure that this is something that they, are comfortable with, something that they know what are some of the downsides, and that it's just part of the process, part of the game, and that it's not completely smooth sailing at all times, no matter what the late night infomercials tell them. People who own real estate as an investment, for a lot of people, it's a business or at least a side hustle. So there is some level of work involved in it, or some level of decision making. So let them know that up front. Don't surprise them with that. The third thing, in addition to then anticipating problems, is then trying your best to prevent those problems from happening. And if they do end up happening, communicate them. Make sure that you are giving people, your potential client some feedback. Make sure that they know what's going on. Don't keep it from them if things are going to get delayed. Make sure that they're involved in it and that they're, informed and comfortable with that, because it is going to happen. There's not a lot you can do about it anyway, but it's, I always say bad news is bad news, but I'd rather know about it sooner rather than later. So life happens and you have to just deal with it, and you're better off knowing about it when you have the ability to, kind of maneuver around it rather than waiting to the last minute to inform them of it. So keep them involved and keep them informed. The fourth thing is, this is actually a kind of a blessing in disguise. When problems happen, I have this written down, when problems happen, shine. And what I mean by that is, This is how relationships are forged. If they see that you're pitching in and doing your level best to have prevented the problem and to have communicated the problem, and you're working your butt off to make sure that the problem is as short-lived as possible, they're going to notice that, and they're going to realize that they've got you in their corner, and they're going to appreciate that. And I've had it happen where sometimes a customer would come in when I was a financial planner, and this wasn't so much due to the market, but sometimes just the company I worked for may have promised them to get a certain administrative thing done, and they tried, and the person tried and tried and tried, and whoever was in charge of it dropped the ball many times, and they would come in very hot, very, very, very angry. And the main thing that you have to do is you have to stay calm. You remind them that you talked about these things happening. Stay calm and be the voice of reason for them. And once they realize that you are on their side and that you are going to try to address the problem, what you could do is commit to giving them a call by Thursday, whether you have the problem solved or not. Just at least they know that you're going to get an answer to them, that you're not abandoning them, and that they will get an answer, a kind of an update by Thursday, and then deliver. Make sure to deliver, because if they're hot and they're angry already and they see you promise them something and then not deliver, that's going to throw the whole thing off. So you have to really be diligent, put it in your tickler, make sure to make that call, and whether you have the problem resolved or not by, let's say, Thursday, doesn't really matter. The main thing is they're now calm because you're in their corner, you are more experienced than they are, and they know that they've got your experience working for them. So they're going to value your experience, and if you as long as you project confidence in the whole thing, it's going to make them feel a lot better about the whole process. It's not even the last thing. I'm just going to make an analogy. It's almost like if you went to a doctor and you had some skin tag on your face, and the doctor said to you, "Yeah, I've seen that a million times. In all likelihood, that's going away." Versus another doctor who says, "My God, that's the first time I've ever seen that before." Which doctor is going to give you a lot more confidence? Of course, it's the first one. So that's who you want to be. You want to be the person who, I've seen this a million times before. Yes, there's going to be some problems. There's going to be some hiccups along the way. But 5 years from now, are you even going to remember that this happened? The answer is no. So when problems happen, relationships are forged. You go through the battles together, and you come out on the other side of it, and they love you. You're the person they trust because you went through the battle with them. That's really the main takeaway there. And then the last thing, number 5, is treat them like the VIPs that they really are. Because when you think about it, if any one of the people who you contact about investing is starting to show some interest and come along for the ride, these people are basically raising their hand and telling you, yes, I'm open to the idea of buying multiple houses from you. Because that's what investors do. They don't just buy one house typically. If somebody likes the idea of investing, they're basically just telegraphing to you that if things go well, or even reasonably well, or at least reasonably how you kind of told me they would go, I'm open to buying houses from you. So treat them like the VIPs that they deserve to be, because they are gold. As I've said before, you can get by with a handful of these people, and if they're wealthy enough, and if they believe in you enough, and if they've seen enough good results, they're going to keep buying from you so that you don't need 100 or 200 or 300 clients. You can get by with a dozen clients or 24 clients if they buy enough, and they can keep you very successful. And in addition to the regular clients that you're getting anyway, these are just gravy, and they're just going to put you into the president's circle or whatever your company calls it each year as the top performer in your branch or in your region or in your nation. So that's all I've got for today. If you got value out of this, again, please like and subscribe. I'm Russ, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.